Welcome to the Fair Lawn Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. I am Alan Cohen, the Managing Director of Living Great Real Estate here in Fair Lawn. I'm delighted to be here so that I can introduce to you Alexander Cardillo. He represents the Friends of the Fair Lawn Library, very valuable library in our community that's been around for quite a long time, and Alexander will tell us about him. Alex, how are you today? Nice to see you.
I'm good. You? Nice to see
Great.
you.
I'm terrific. We're a little bit rushed today, but it's great to see you, and I really appreciate you coming on to give us some information of the library. So first of all, you're Friends of the Fair Lawn Library, and what really is that?
The Friends of the Fair Lawn Library is a group that's part of the library that volunteers, that fundraises for them, that makes sure we can get all of the children's programming we want. We offer museum passes to the community. So if you want to come in and check out the museum pass, you could go into New York City, you can go see the Intrepid, you can go see the Guggenheim, you can go see the Metropolitan Museum of Art. We also offer and do craft fairs and book sales and many things that support library programming for adults and children.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned the museums. I had no idea about that. So if somebody wanted to go to the Guggenheim, what do? They come in, they buy a pass, or how are these passes given out?
It's free. All you have to do is come in with your library card. You have to be a resident of Fair Lawn.
Okay.
And you check out the pass, and you get 2 to 3 days with. I think you get 3 days with it. And you can go and schedule an appointment at some of the museums we have, and you can go enjoy the sights there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, all the years I've been living in Fair Lawn for, well over 20 years. I've been to the library many times. My kids were young. We used to go all the time. It was the greatest place to be. But I never even realized that. All the times that we did go to museums, we paid or donated or this and that. So great for this interview. I learned much about you guys already. So let me ask you, how long have you been one of the Friends of the Fair Lawn Library?
I've been a friend of the Fair Lawn Library for 16 years now.
Terrific. So what gives you that qualification? Is that, are you donating your time? Are you a volunteer, or is that part of your duties? Are you a librarian as well?
You don't have to be a librarian there, but I am a librarian at the Fair Lawn Library. I've been working there for 16 years as well. Usually we ask you to pay some volunteer dues so we could fundraise, maybe like you could pay like upward from $5 to $100, and you could become a friend of the library. There's a monthly meeting, and you can come to the monthly meeting, and you could help volunteer your time for the craft fair or the book sale or any of the number of things that we do during the year. We also provide concerts. We work with the high school, and the former principal, Mr. Marcella, does SGO Overdrive with us, and he does that fundraising for a scholarship for the students of the high school.
Wow. It seems like you bring so much value to the community, but it seems like you might have to get it out a little bit more. How do you market yourself of Friends of the library? I mean, a lot of people know the library, of course, but maybe not aware of this part of what you guys do.
We do a Facebook page. It's Friends of the Maurice M. Pine Library, Fair Lawn. And we do try to work with the local businesses in the community. I know Mrs. Naffs works very hard with the children's librarian, works very hard finding places and businesses that will help her keep the kids reading and making sure that they get prizes and like slices of pizza or ice cream, but we would like more involvement with our businesses and more help to keep these kids reading and keep the adults reading too.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing to say because with the advent, obviously, of social media and phones and all that, are you finding that people are visiting the library less?
Okay, I feel that there's an equal amount of visits, but the work has changed. We have a lot more work with people's iPads and people's Kindles and people's Nooks, and we have started um, entering the technological sphere, and we were always in the technological sphere, but we are on the cutting edge, and we always make sure that we have the best and latest training as librarians to know what people are using,
Hmm.
and to make sure that we know how to use it. So if somebody asks us a question, we can impart that on them.
Now you're saying that to use it just to use the device, or really to be able to get some material, some books onto that device. Is that what you mean?
Both.
Both.
We do both at the library. Yes, if you come
Right.
and ask me about how to use your iPad, how to use your Kindle, I
Really?
I can teach you how to do that. Or if you need books, the Bergen County Cooperative Library System has a lot of books that are digital.
Right.
So while people have been checking out books a little bit less because of their devices, we also provide a lot of resources on their devices and research materials on their devices.
Right.
So the library has many, many resources for that.
Yeah, that's really fantastic. Again, there's another key point I didn't even realize that if somebody, maybe a senior that wants to do, I know we finally got my mom, who has a cell phone all the time, making call, but we got her onto Facebook so she can see that, and we use WhatsApp so I can actually see her. She's in Florida. Obviously, I don't see her that often, and especially with COVID, and she has a very hard time understanding it. Even when she does it, I can't find it. That's a great thing. I wonder if the libraries down there, they probably provide the same type of service where maybe a senior could go in and say, this stuff is really very foreign to me. Can you help me with that? And I don't believe most people know that that's a service that you provide. That's really fantastic.
Yes, we also provide. We also have volunteers. Before COVID, we had teenage volunteers come in from the high school to do tech help with seniors for any device that they needed.
And I would imagine the younger people, maybe in their teens and young, they probably know more about it than all of us put together. Somehow, they're born into this or grow up right into this, so they might know. But that's really very interesting. So let me just ask you a little bit about your background, Alexander. I mean, what made you become a librarian? You sometimes they must be really super smart or nerdy or this and that, but you seem really like a great guy. What really got you into this field?
When I was 16 years old, I went to interview at the Fair Lawn Library, and I started working there after school during my high school days, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with doing the job and being organized, and it gave me I like doing a lot of things. I like learning a lot of things, and anything in the library, any book can bring you anywhere and teach you anything. And I loved learning a little bits about everything. So that's what made me get into this field. I loved helping people. I love research, and I love finding the right answer for people. Um, you know, everyone. I have a mug that says "Librarian is the original search engine" in Google letters. So
And that's so true. So are you a Fair Lawn resident as well? Obviously.
yes, I am a Fair Lawn resident.
And what kind of schooling do you have behind you? Did you get a degree in something, or what is your education?
I have bachelor's in history from Seton Hall and a master's of library of information science from San Jose State University.
Wow, that's incredible. So a master's in it too, as well.
Yes.
Very, very knowledgeable and talented. That's incredible. So how do you see it changing now, the library? Obviously, you said there's more technology coming in. There's less people reading physical books, but there's nothing like reading a physical book and opening a page. Are people really missing out by not coming into the library and actually picking up a book?
I would agree with you. There's nothing like a physical book. As I've been there for the past 16 years, I've seen physical books become less and less as technology has taken over a little bit, but there's nothing like a physical book. When I first started, the shelving used to be like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 carts a night, and now it's maybe half of that, 4 carts. But I feel people are missing out on physical books. If there's one place where especially with children, picture books are still just as beautiful as they once were. But I feel that technology has a place too. I feel like the library accompanies both and has both ends of the spectrum. You can come in and you can learn, use technology and learn about technology and read with technology, but we also still have physical books, physical CDs, physical DVDs, whatever it is you like, the library has.
Yeah, that's terrific. So do you feel that parents, say with somebody, like you said, children, maybe 5, 6, or 7, are they still bringing, do you have like a reading hour and still, I remember downstairs you had a wonderful room down there for the children, and we would bring our daughters there and sit on the floors or talk to librarians. They would suggest different books. And like you said, opening it up and seeing, I used to always go to my kids, I read a little, they go, picture, and just show them the wonderful picture, and their eyes would light up at just seeing this. Do you think that parents are still doing that, or are they still encouraging their children to read a book, even though there's so much technology in the world?
Yes, I believe that parents are still encouraging kids to read a book. The children's programs have been a highlight of the library for the past 25 years that that the children's room librarian has been there. And Kate Naffs has done some of the best programming in the Bergen County system. She attracts people from everyone from Fair Lawn knows who Kate Naffs is, and she does wonderful programs. She does story hours. She gets magicians. She gets the bubble guy for the toddlers. She does so many programs. She does game day in the summer, and she wants to make sure that everybody in the library feels welcome, and she wants more people to come in the library and use the services that are in the children's room. And right now she's doing, because of COVID, she's doing YouTube story hours and YouTube Mother Goose for Babies. So she wants to make sure that everybody knows about the children's programs and everything that the library has to offer.
That's fantastic. So you brought up COVID, and of course I would bring that up as well. How has that really affected the library right now? Because did you actually shut down, or you just went to more virtual? But are people still allowed in? Are you allowed 25% of accommodations for people? How has that really affected the library itself?
We shut down from March to I think about July. And when we opened up, you were only allowed in there for 30 minutes and you were not allowed to sit down. And we were open with very limited hours. Now we're open our regular hours. We clean from 1 to 2. And we do have a capacity, but the building is so large. I don't know if everyone knows the building is 5 floors,
Yeah.
and you're allowed 25 people on each floor. And 12 people in the children's room. And the children's room used to have toys and games you could play with. You can't do that anymore. So that has hurt us a little bit. We do miss our toys and games, but we did miss our patrons when we were gone too. And we're very happy, even with the limited service that we have, to see everybody back at the library.
Yeah, that's great. So you brought up it's 5 floors. Now, the fact that more things are on the technical side, do you see less books coming in? Are rooms emptying out a bit because you don't have as much product or books, but is that going to affect the library itself where you're going to consolidate down and you really only need 2 floors? I mean, how could that work?
No, we're always going to keep a lot of books in the library. We did make a lot of room. We have a gallery, and that's where we have our concerts. We have movable shelves. When we used to have art openings before COVID, and for the artists out there, we have an art advisory board who looks at everybody's art and puts up displays of art for people, and we try and do it all for the town.
That's really great. What a valuable source for the town. It's incredible. Okay, so the other question I was going to ask is, let me think what that other question was. Hold on. 11:26. Hold on. No, it is going great. I'm going to edit this part out. We cover most of it. I like to get back to the funding and stuff like that. And so, okay, let me take it from here. So, Alex, this is really such valuable information, and I think everybody knows about the library and all that, but I think people, tend to think it's like an older source. But you really enlightened us to let us know that you are on the cutting edge of technology and you are changing with the times. You mentioned also that you do some cleaning for COVID. I mean, if people are touching books, at one time we had to wear gloves at the beginning of this. We're not doing that as much. Physically, I guess you can't really clean the books themselves. Do you have to worry about that as well?
When somebody returns a book now, we quarantine it for 72 days.
72 days?
Oh, I'm sorry. I made a mistake.
72 hours.
72. We quarantine it for 72 hours.
Wow, you quarantine a book. That's incredible.
And if somebody comes in and browses and touches a book, we have a table to quarantine for the 72 hours as well. And that's how we mitigate that. We do have computer use. People are allowed to use computers. We clean them. I clean them after every session when I'm at the reference desk. So does everybody else. I make sure that from 1 to 2, the circulation department comes up and cleans the whole library, sanitizes the tables, sanitizes the banisters on the stairs, make sure everything's clean and safe so we can have our patrons back.
That's incredible. We all have to be so aware of that and really still take care of ourselves in whatever industry you're in. The poor restaurants are having it so rough, and I guess this triggers right into where you are. So are people really coming to use computers that often? Or by now, I would think most families have a computer, but you're still saying people are still come in where they may not have a young student, an adult that's not that savvy, maybe.
Before COVID, people were coming in to use the terminals, the 10 terminals that we have almost every day. We also provide a very quiet place in the back to work before COVID, and you could sit and relax and bring your own laptop, and we have Wi-Fi there, so we have our own technology for you to use, but you can bring your technology and meet with people in the library and use our Wi-Fi as well.
Yeah. So, like you said, there was a time limit when COVID first started. So now, if somebody has to do a report and they do want to get out of the house, maybe their house has smaller children, might be a senior in a high school or a college student that, needs more quiet. Can they still come to the library and use their stuff and sit there, for a couple of hours to do a report?
Not yet. We
Not
don't
yet.
we don't have that ready yet. But we do have limited computer use. You're allowed 30-minute sessions on our public terminals, and you are allowed to have that for your technology at this point.
Right. Well, everything's limited now, and hopefully we'll be out of this soon. So the other libraries in the area, Glen Rock, Teaneck, and that, do you have a camaraderie with them? Like if we need a book that's only at the other library, you could still get them for us. And how do you work in association with other libraries?
Even through COVID, when we started opening again, we do have a reciprocal borrowing with the other towns. We have 77 different libraries in Buckles. If we don't have it, and Hackensack does, or Teaneck does, Mawa does, those are the further away ones. Glen Rock has it, Ridgewood, all of them. We will get it sent to you, the item that you would like.
That's terrific. So let me ask you a question about used books or used encyclopedias. I remember we had boxes of some, I mean, they seem like very valuable books, and we wanted to donate them to the library. And the library says, we don't even want them. I mean, obviously dated encyclopedias. I mean, what do you do? To throw it in the trash or go to the recycle and put it in their paper bin, it seems sacrilegious. But obviously you can't keep everything. So, I mean, if you have a good Britannica, encyclopedia set that you paid $1,000 for in the good old days, I mean, what do you do with this kind of stuff?
If it's outdated, you do exactly what you just said. You
Wow.
do have to throw it away because it's old materials, and old materials will lead to misinformation because things get updated, things change, science always changes. We find new things out about history, and they update that. One of my friends used to say, who's a librarian, we throw away books, but we also get a chance to buy new books and get new books and get better books that reflect the times that we're in.
But are there certain like collector item books that might be the first of a series, or the original print? I mean, aren't there some collector item books that are still valuable?
I would say there are some valuable books out there. Like for myself personally, I have a lot of books at home. I would keep the original Harry Potter and so many books that I love. All of the original sets of Harry Potter, or I read like the book The Help. I like that. I keep that. I would keep your fiction books, because fiction books never change, and you could always go back and enjoy them and read them again.
That's very interesting, right? And an encyclopedia goes out of date, but the first of the series of Harry Potter, that's really what it is. So that's not going to go out of date, obviously. That's good to know. But I think just as common folk, so to speak, just feel it's a little sacrilegious. And then we try to, and then you want to put it in the slot. Maybe they'll take it that way. They said no, but do you all of a sudden get like, a bunch of books in the slot that you go, oh, they knew we didn't want it, and now you got to, trash it.
That is something that happens to us on many occasions. Yes, something we can't use. We don't want materials that are. We don't want materials for our patrons that are not up to date and the best and perfect.
Yeah, but you said there might be a fiction book that, out of all those, they may not only be the encyclopedias that they try to get rid of, but you just have so many books, just like you have so many albums. You
We
know,
we sometimes keep our fiction books that we get donated. We put them. Sometimes we sell them and make a little money off of them, so we could add to some programmings for the some things for the library. So yes, we do sometimes take donations, but especially with COVID right now, we don't take anything from anybody's house. So it's very important to know we're not taking anything right now because we're very nervous, but we don't want to have to shut down again.
Right. So that brings us back to your funding and how you raise money. That might have been a valuable source to raise money for the library, is having your big book sales. So you don't plan on having any book sales this year at all, or did you have any, or that's just obviously not happening at this point?
Nothing. We can't do anything like that right now.
So you have to resort to other fundraisers to raise money.
Yes.
Yeah, incredible. We just learned so much about the library that I think most residents, appreciate and love the Maurice Pines Library so much. It's, so in our community, it's always been a place to bring your family. And I remember bringing my children there. It was so wonderful. And that, I'm so happy that we have people like you that really find pride in being a librarian, because like I said, a lot of people don't see that as much, and they go, who's the guy working there? How can they be a librarian? But you have a master's in this, so obviously you have a lot of pride in what you do and the value that you bring into the community, and it's such a wealth of knowledge, the library, where you go from this row to that row, it's all there. So it's really incredible, Alexander.
Can I add that the library started where the Chase Bank is right now, in Dr. Pine's dentist's office. That's where his dentist's office was. And then we moved to River Road in the 50s, where Anthony's Jewelers is and Wani's Cafe is. That was the library. And then in 1966, we got that building that we have now.
Oh, I never even realized. So I didn't realize that Maurice Pines was a dentist.
He was a dentist in town.
A philanthropist that you just wanted to donate money or make a library? Is that?
He wanted to make a library. He thought it was very important to have a strong library in town in the 30s.
So that's when it first started, in the 30s?
Yes.
That's really incredible. So we're 70 years later, and the Maurice Pines is still as active as ever. That's really incredible.
Yes.
So how many friends of the library are there?
There are several. We have a meeting, and we have maybe about 10 people come and have a meeting about what we could do to fundraise and help the library. If more are out there and would like to come, we would love to have you and love to hear your ideas.
That's great. So, Alexander, I want to say it's been a wonderful interview. I think you really enlightened us to the many services and the value that you still bring to our community. And you mentioned such things as, helping the seniors on the technical aspects, working with people and their iPads and all that, which we never realized. You did mention that we could get passes to all the museums. Never realized that. 20 years I'm here, and I wish I would have taken more advantage of that. And you mentioned some of the biggest museums in the city. So, yeah. It's such a great resource. So I want to thank you, Alexander Cardillo, for joining us today as a friend of the library, and also one of the, I would imagine by now you're one of the chief librarians over there.
I'm only part-time, but I've worked there a long time, yes.
You're working a lot. So it's just wonderful to have you, and to all the friends and to all the people that work at the library, the Maurice Pines Library in Fair Lawn, such a valuable source for our community. And I want to thank you very much, Alexander, for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
My pleasure. So once again, my name is Alan Cohen. This has been a Business Spotlight.